So I try my best to maybe take into consideration, doing other videos, just reacting to something different. But the relationship stuff is the most ridiculous stuff you can find, and it always warrants a reaction, whether I record it or not. So here we are with another one. I'm going to read both, and then I'm going to give my slight, ever so slight rant, and then go to the comments because I find this to be absolutely insane. But here we go. This lady posts, "Dead ass got this nigga a guaranteed job, a great job at that with benefits. All the nigga had to do was stop smoking to pass a drug test. Willing to pay out of pocket to fix their license. All I asked was to stop smoking. I'm done." So I'm assuming that he didn't stop smoking. But nonetheless, the guy right below her, well, he responded at some point and said, "This is a prime example of women's choices out of all men interested that tried to talk to you. This is the man you chose. If you invested that support in the right man, you would already be receiving the benefit." Now, as you could imagine, well, no, I take that back. Because I was not ready for the typical responses when I got to the comment section. But my initial thought was, well, yeah. Even before he said it, I'm just like, well, that's the guy. Like, when I hear people say women love projects, I'm just like, no, they don't. No, they don't. They like a certain kind of guy and they're willing to put up with some shit or maybe go through some trial and error with them. But they don't like projects. You've never heard, "I took the dorkiest little dick guy I could find and helped him become, their own Stefan." You never hear, "I took the fattest, stinkiest guy and turned him to an in shape, not like, really good smelling." Like, you don't hear that. So I stop saying they like projects. No, they fucking don't. That's a cop out. No, they don't like projects. No, they like who they like, and they're like, if I could tweak this a little bit, it'd rock hard. But yeah, that we're gonna go to this comment section, and my God, the typical shit you can think of in response, it's here. But let's go. Hey man, and I hate blank profiles. They're always just some bullshit. "A man refuses to stop doing drugs for a better opportunity, and somehow men find a way to blame the woman. We're blaming her specifically for choosing that guy. We're not blaming him for being a bad guy. Why do y'all keep doing that? Y'all know damn well we're not blaming her for him being a bad guy. That's not what we're doing. We're blaming specifically the choice. He said, again, a prime example of women's choices out of all the men interested. That was the blame. That. Not that he is a bad guy. She chose a bad guy. And remember, this is not some he acted different before. No, this is straight up he, in the now, is a weed smoking unemployed person. Think about it. He won't stop long enough. So he didn't have a job when she met him. Likely, she didn't unveil any of that. But the chances are, if he can't stop smoking weed long enough to get a legit job, he didn't have one when they met. But yet, this is what you chose to put up with and try to change. That's the blame. We're already admitting that this is not a guy you should have picked. I don't know why that gets thrown out. It doesn't even get glossed over. It gets thrown out, and they just pretend like we're not actually discussing it. We are. We're saying of all the guys to pick, you chose this one because again, we're saying you shouldn't have picked him. He's a bad pick, a bad selection, a bad choice. How on earth do you get that confused or just straight up dismiss it? How? But the next one says, like, "Why don't y'all hold dudes down in law and medical school like y'all hold dudes down in jail? I never understand." And I'm not even going as far as like law and medical school. I'm not even go that far. I'm going to say just out in the real world. If you want to take on a project, and again, and you're willing to understand that it's not guaranteed, just like that guy, well, you should be willing to take on. You don't like guys who are fat? Okay, cool. well, since you're willing to take on a prize, remember that's the concept we're talking about here. I'm not saying anybody should go out there and try to get a project. No, but while we're talking about women taking on projects, in the same concept, well, why don't you take on a guy who's obviously shown that he's a worker, has a decent employment history, and you whatever it is, maybe he's fat, help him out with the not being fat. If he's a little quote unquote lame, maybe I don't know, take him with you to your fucking places or what the fuck ever that are deemed not lame. Which I really don't understand this whole needing to club hop or jump on planes is really odd. But why don't you do that, right? Something other than try to fix up a dude who smokes pot and is unemployed. I just, how when will that be played out? I mean, before you're 35, when will that be played out? When is it going to be played out when you're 20? That's the question. That's one of the questions we keep asking, because this can't continue to be a thing. And somehow you're just like, I don't really understand why you keep blaming us. She says, when it comes to men, I don't argue. I just say, you are absolutely right and continue to enjoy my day. Okay. That isn't, I guess, sure. All right. Who said the nigga was her man? Well, ma'am, if he wasn't her man, typically people say, my brother is such a fuck up. Or my cousin, let me tell you, I don't know how anyone would like him. Blah, blah, blah. They usually gonna say this nigga. If he was in relation to her or just a friend, usually they make that clear. They don't say this nigga when they're referring to their dad or their older brother. Women will pass over great men just to complain about the man that they chose. That's a guy. Woman. So he did all that math and came up with it's her fault. Yeah, her choice is her fault. Her choice. Not what he is. No, her choice to be with him is her fault. That's the math. Mind you, this is the same internet where y'all tell women all day long that their standards are too high and date the men you want to that want to date you. Damned if we do, damned if we don't. And by we, I mean women in general. Okay. There seems to be this weird, just women just will not accept that there are a huge gray area of men who are not super rich with like 7 yachts and unemployed weed smokers. Holy shit. Holy shit. And again, the whole who will date you? I refuse. You got to show me hard evidence that the only men who will date you are unemployed weed smokers. The fuck out of here. The unemployed weed smokers are the only men who will date you. Only. Not the fucking, hell, not even the baggers at Kroger won't date you. The unemployed weed smokers are the only ones. That's what you're selling me. Y'all full of shit, dude. This is so tiring to even just hearing, even if I don't react to it, just hearing these conversations in these talking points is like, you fucking serious? You're really trying to sell me on the only options you have are a dude who is what is it? Either rich, like I said, with 7 yachts, a mansion, or like the one dude said, long dick, write poetry, weekend house, and all. Either him or the unemployed pot smoker. Those are your only two options ever. Alright, I'll play ball with like 30 different types of dudes, but sure, only 2 exist to women. Got it. Holy shit. I literally, just hooping. With a dude who's in tech, but he's married. Fair enough. I hope with another guy who he worked one job for a few years, but then he got laid off. Then he quickly went to a temp service and got, a job that works him 60, 70 hours a week, which he doesn't hoop anymore. I know a guy who is a lawyer. I know for a fact the guy's single, so there's one. I hoop with a. The fuck does he do? Well, he's married, but he also brought a guy who works with him that's single, so I think that counts as at least one. They just work at a plant that I deliver to sometimes. Regular jobs, but employed. Have a home, a car, regular shit. But hey, I believe you when you say the only men available are rich dudes or unemployed pot smokers. I really do. I believe you. Absolutely. You're full of shit. Stop wanting more for people than they want for themselves. Simple. Okay, I'll buy that. Y'all going to find a way to blame a woman every damn time. Again, we're blaming her for her choice. We're not blaming her again because of what he is. I stop doing that. Damn. The idea of choose better is assuming that women just swiftly walk past hundreds of good guys for the degenerate. How does that make logical sense? These are the same men that cry about black women not helping or holding them down. Then y'all say stuff like this. Y'all see why no one wants to be bothered. LOL. Again. A fucking again. But the bullshit. First of all, the whole assuming you just swiftly walk past hundreds of good guys before the degenerate. Again, not in a metaphorical sense. Absolutely. And again, good guy is it's so general and so if then that, but like I personally get kind of annoyed with it at this point, because it's all over the place, right? Like her definition of good guy might be again the dude with like 7 yachts. That might be her definition of good yachts. I've actually heard, for example, this one chick that was on Lapeef. I joined their Facebook group for a little while before I was like, this shit is a fucking insane. But she said she wants a guy who's financially stable. And to test this theory that she was talking about, I said, okay, so what exactly is financially stable to you? And she couldn't really give me a definition. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it, fine. Let me try a definition. Are you saying that he has to like make like I don't know like double or some shit? I forget what I said, but it's something like that. Basically, like so much money to the point where if she were still single, the life just doesn't miss a beat, right? And it's something like the 200 something thousand that you had to just take from because again she didn't really want to give an actual. She didn't want to get pinned down on a definition, but that was her example. That was her definition of financially stable. Literally a dude making damn near like $250,000. It's like, god damn. Seriously. When you do that, yes, at that point, you are absolutely just casually walking past quote unquote good guys for this bullshit. But again, that's just an example of how the definitions can be all over the place. And then the whole require about black women not holding them down. Listen, I learned a couple years ago that y'all definition of holding a dude down ain't if he's already your man and lose his job. No. Y'all are talking about literally getting with a degenerate and financing him because I guess he's fun or the sex is good or he's fine or whatever the fuck. But that's your definition of holding him down. Finding a guy who already has nothing. Who already has no, when I say ambition, I'm not talking about to be like a CEO. No, I'm literally talking about to stop smoking weed and get a fucking job. Example, what made me realize this is I was watching that guy called Game Changer. He had a one-on-one with a chick. Both who have no face, and it really annoys me, but I'm gonna rock with it and assume that they're both it was a genuine back and forth. But they were talking about at the time when it came out, the eviction rate and how black women were at the top of it. And her rationale was, but you gotta understand, we be holding y'all down, but our name be on the lease. And I'm like, no fucking way. No fucking way. You lead the league in evictions only because y'all choose dudes who don't have jobs. So y'all are responsible for literally not only just putting your name on the lease, but for all the bills, all the way to the point where you get evicted while he's there. That's what you're passing off. And somehow that has nothing to do with you. All our fault. And then when I questioned her about this in the comment section, I'm like, hold up. Why did you're really passing this off? I can't remember how I worded it, but I'm like, there's no fucking way you can really sell this to me on that's the number one reason for the high eviction rate amongst black women. That's bullshit. Why would so many of you be in that situation? What the fuck? And then she gave this long, like 7-paragraph response of like, oh, LOL, y'all tripped me out. Some shit like this, basically. Oh, y'all kill me with the damn if you do. Like, if we don't hold y'all down, then we get blamed for that. But yet y'all tell us like not to only focus on I get this typical bullshit, not to only focus on the guy with a lot of money. It's like, oh my God. Y'all really don't see any other than the two extremes. That's odd and very scary, honestly. But also, at that moment, again, I can't figure out who the fuck, other than the Jay-Z song, said that, women in general, but in this particular case, because she brought it up, black women should be ride or die, that type of shit, to the worst of black men. What? I'm pretty sure y'all are taking that message and bastardizing it. I'm assuming that what really was said in this regard was simply, look, if your already man is a 9-to-5er, don't dump the nigga because shit gets rough. Like, like today, where people are saying housing and rent and blah blah blah. And now you have a situation where, you got to go without this a little bit. I'm pretty sure that's what it more so was. And not me, a broke ass dude who probably got kids already and baby mamas all over the place and can't stop smoking weed long enough to get a job. Yeah, hold him down. Because that just doesn't make sense. Y'all gotta really, again, get hard evidence of a bunch of old heads, Gen X or something, that said, yeah, we told him that. Yeah, we was out here just bullshitting, so we told black women just, get the worst of us and stand in it. Some variation that you gotta really get me some hard ass evidence. Because I can't imagine that people really were trying to convince you to be with people who were homeless. You're really selling me that? Including the dudes who were quote unquote lames or corny, cornballs, whatever the fuck you call it, were also telling you to be with the dudes who are homeless to hold them down. Because I'm quite sure they would have preferred to say, hey, y'all keep overlooking me. How about me? I'm pretty sure it was that. Just like today, how y'all call so many different guys incel, no matter who they are or what they fit. Or incel or gay, that's one of the go-tos, right? I'm pretty sure those guys of that time would have said, hey, why don't you, be with me? Like, I don't understand. I just don't get that. How you're trying to sell to me that even they told you to be a ride or die chick for this kind of guy. You're full of shit. You don't want to say or admit, this is what I'm going to assume, that, hey, I kind of just said, fuck it. It was either him or the lame, and we know I ain't doing that. You know how y'all got those sayings? I done seen it on clothing. I done fucking seen it on clothing where y'all would say, I'm too pretty for this, I'm too pretty for that. I'm pretty sure something like that is part of the reason you end up trying to take care of some fine ass broke guy who won't stop smoking weed. All right, moving on. Shit. Man, that was long. Y'all men been dodging accountability since Adam and Eve. That's why the apple got stuck in y'all throat. Accountability, again, we're saying that he ain't shit. We can admit that. We can admit that dudes that don't get employment because they can't stop smoking weed ain't shit. We can admit that. Stop charging us up with that. We have admitted that. Okay? All right. Hold up. So instead of blaming the man for not working, you blame the woman for helping? Okay. No, we're saying don't choose that guy. That one. You're not going to convince me unless you gotta go find this woman and that man and show me that he wasn't like that when they met. I gotta see it. I gotta see that. Because otherwise, we said that guy shouldn't have been chose. That guy, he shouldn't have been chose. There are dudes who have jobs that are single. Damn. The problem is this type of man is in abundance. There are so many of them, like a lot. Brother and beau. Okay. Brother or beau. Whatever the fuck that means. Okay. You know what else is in abundance? Regular ass single dudes. They're also in abundance. Like, seriously. Like, how many times we got to go over this? Or do y'all really rather just use this as a clutch to not have to really just, be in a regular, stable relationship? You know that one, that interview went somewhat, it trended. It didn't go viral, it trended. But it was two girls who said, we've heard before women say, these regular relationships are kind of boring. You know what? I've said this a long time ago. I'm gonna renew it right now. I was a janitor at an elementary school, and this substitute teacher was 41. Me and her, we enjoy talking about this stuff that I find on the internet and whatnot. And in one of the conversations, she told me that she said she can't be with a man who comes home every day like clockwork. That's a key perk, like clockwork. She doesn't mind him coming home every day, but she can't be with a guy who if he gets off at 5 and it don't take him but 20 minutes to get home. She cannot stand a guy who comes in every day at 5:20. You can't stand a guy who's predictable, reliable, because those two go hand in hand. When you're picking a spouse, someone to live with, share life with, those go hand in hand, right? And yes, that absolutely goes both ways. If you're saying you cannot have a partner who you know that they're going to be there in that house at 5:20, you are saying that you cannot have somebody who's dependable. Because that's part of it. Like, she kept, in so many ways, she basically kept saying he has to be into some shit. Not negatively per se, but into some shit. Like, I'll use me for example. If I go out and, like, I play ball 3 times a week, twice during the week. Every day, during the week, it happens at 7 p.m. So unless I'm late getting off work, I always come home first. Decompress, change, that type of stuff. So now, what you're telling me is, again, unless I work really late, I can't walk in the door before I hoop Monday through Friday. Otherwise, you'll, be a little bored. That is the type of shit that I seen live in person, not just social media. Because a lot of people get off the internet. This shit is in real life. That is the type of shit that I have seen and heard women use when picking a partner or not picking a partner. That he has to just, just, not come home. Or he has, like, it'd be the dumbest shit. You go, and y'all complain about what exactly? There's no fucking way that you are really complaining about he comes home, on time. Like, think about that shit. Think about that. Man. Moving on. Holy shit. So miss me with the bullshit, yo. For real. I ain't trying to hear that shit no more. I don't give the benefit of the doubt in these conversations at all anymore. In any kind of way. If you tell me your baby daddy ain't shit, I assume you ain't either. I don't give any leeway whatsoever. I can't. Not after hearing what I've heard thus far, seeing what I've seen thus far, I'm just no longer doing it. I'd rather, again, even in person, friends, family members, overhearing women talk, chicks I'm fucking talking to, the fuck? I can't. I can't give you the benefit of the doubt anymore. Fuck that. Fuck that. I literally, a chick that I was just messing around with, this was a long time ago. We ended up, like, it never really not stayed in touch, but just like, you know how those situations goes. I think you do. The dude she was talking to around tax time, took her money, bought a truck, and dipped. And it's like, oh man, like, and I'm not a user. I've never done use a woman for shit. But you chose that problem over what problem did I have exactly? Alrighty. So yeah, these new age, us younger millennials, Gen Z, and all that, we're not falling for this shit anymore. I personally can't. I'll say that and keep it moving. Some people don't want better for themselves. We can try to help, and it doesn't always work out. There's always this assumption that there is a plethora of eligible men being passed on for no reason. The delusion is sickening. Again, just me as an example, I know about 6 or 7, and that's just the dudes that I regularly hoop with. Never mind the ones that I knew at my old gym. Never mind the ones that I run into at work, because I'm a truck driver. I'm never really always there. But the ones I run into at work, yeah, those are just not. Hell, a chick at my job right fucking now. I thought she was talking to this one guy because they were always smiling, talking to each other. But he's like, yeah, nah, she got a boyfriend. And then, like, she told him shit about her boyfriend. I'm just like, okay. I hope I didn't say this to him, but I'm like, I hope you're lying. You're all just, like, fucking on the low or something because y'all don't want people in your business. Because that seems like a really stupid idea. Like, that doesn't even make sense. That the shit he told me, like, really. Okay, whatever. Moving on. She was supposed to see into the future to see he wouldn't stop smoking to get a good job. Okay, this person is obviously trying to be a smartass. But, yeah, smartass. She was. She was supposed to meet this guy and go, damn, all he do is smoke weed and not go to work because he ain't got no fucking job. And go, you know what? I'm not going to be with this guy who smokes weed and doesn't take his fucking ass to work because he ain't got a fucking job. She was supposed to make that decision. She was supposed to not go this far with him. Yes, smart ass. She was supposed to. Notice she posted this 6 days ago. No replies. But all the other chicks that are saying the opposite got replies. She said, these men are right. Women really don't take accountability for anything. Now, I'm not saying anything because, leave room for plausibility, right? That's the wrong word, but I'm wrong with it. But if you are really the chicks above her that are saying, why are you blaming her? There are no eligible men, blah, blah. Like, you full of shit. You full of shit. I'm on the guy who responded side because he's right and she chose him, whatever comes with him. Now I'm only going to read these replies because I'm done. Kind of exhausted with this video because the same shit that I try to stay away from. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this reply and be done. True. If a woman finds herself in a position having to help a grown man get on his feet, she needs to run fast. It never ends well. A grown man that's really about his business don't need a woman to build his foundation or find his purpose. He's doing it himself. Now, I wonder if this is the either or argument and no room for error in between. And and the reason I say that is because, again, one of the guys I hoop with, he had told us one day after hoop, like, yeah, man, I got laid off. And then, like, one of the jokes was, he was like, it's my fucking uncle. Like, he was working for his uncle, and his uncle, laid him off without warning. And I didn't ask the dude last time I saw him, but I'm not sure if he, got a new job or whatever, but that does happen in life. But no, it should not mean, especially after a certain age, that if you lose your job, you're literally going to be homeless. But yeah, it is possible to meet somebody who's unemployed, but not by default, literally on the brink of extinction. If you're going to use something like that to say, well, that you're an ass. You're an ass if you're going to pretend like as an adult you can't see the difference between won't stop smoking weed to get a job and got laid off. If you're going to pretend to be too dense to understand the difference between the two, you're right. You are absolutely right. Moving on. He's not right because she wasn't even dating the guy she helped. It was a friend. He came up with that assumption on his own. Okay, but in this back and forth in this comment section, we can assume the other. Until we can assume the other. That's the topic of conversation. We can assume the other. So moving on. Still good example of what most women will do and will keep doing. She said that can be said for people in general, not just women. He should stop attributing general human behavior to one specific gender. That's the topic. The fuck? That's the topic, lady. How the fuck you gonna say, oh, well, don't focus on the topic. Make something else the topic that isn't the topic. Shut up. No. The topic is she helped a dude that didn't want to be helped, and here we are. Women actually do this all the time, but when it's targeted to women, it's almost always deflected. If it doesn't apply, keep it moving. I mean, same shit y'all say to us, honestly. Y'all say men are trash. We're just supposed to go, oh, she's not talking about me. Go right ahead. When we know women's version of men are trash, so based solely on how she feels about that man. Not a real definition. It's based solely on how she feels about that man. That man, the old girl got on here and said Martin Luther King was trash. Never met him. I can assure you her ass did not read up on anything that he's done other than his dream speech. But she said he was trash because she heard he was cheating on his wife. She don't know if he cured cancer. She don't know if he saved 1 million babies. But because apparently he cheated on his wife, nothing else mattered. When we know that's a fucking lie. A woman can have 8 million different babies on her husband. If she graduates from Harvard, y'all ass is not gonna be like, well, we can't really care because y'all gonna be like, fuck, we don't give a fuck. She was valedictorian at fucking Harvard. Who gives a fuck, right? All right then. But like I said, I'm done because I cannot. I can't keep going. This is exhausting mentally. So Be right, not positive. I'm out.